educating us on how to understand, market, and take advantage of our product. And so without further ado, I'm going to turn some time over to Dr. Medilla to educate us.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me even without mic?
Yes.
Sorry you have to see me like this. I was walking the dog, and the dog saw a rabbit, ran after the rabbit and pulled me, and I landed on the wrong side of the foot. So anyway, I'm glad I'm here. I thought I would not make it, but I may not walk straight, but I can still talk. So anyway, I joined USANA in 2018. The chief scientific officer invited me to join USANA. I've been with the dietary supplement industry for almost 20 years before I joined USANA. But before that, I have been practicing public health for 40 years already. So you probably can guess what my age is. Which is not important, right? Age is just a number. So I take care of clinical trials in USANA, so we test the products in humans. But we already know it's safe before we even test in humans, right? And also global health education. That's what I do here. So let's continue. Sorry that the clicker is nowhere to be found, so I have to do. Hopefully Kevin did not bring it in the Salt Lake file. Anyway, this is whatever we talk about here is, although I'm MD, I'm not diagnosing any illness or treatment here. Okay, it's only for educational purposes. Because as a company, USANA cannot do diagnosis or treatment. Otherwise, USANA will be what they call this. They say, why is USANA practicing medicine? We can't do that. It's prohibited in US. Probably in your places too. So why are we discussing nutrition? You know, when I was in medical school, nutrition was like an elective. No, nobody really discussed it. You know, we got a few units of nutrition, and all we studied was, okay, the diseases and how to prescribe drugs, and nutrition was, we didn't really know much, you know, until if we had problem with nutrition, we referred it to the dietitian and nutritionist. But gradually, the education has changed, that now in the United States, for example, the doctors are now studying more about nutrition, the nurse practitioners, the nurses, not like during our time. Well, for me, I have to study nutrition on my own. I have to attend conferences, I have to go to take courses on nutrition deeply, you know. So the pharmaceuticals did not like me, because when I was in the hospital, whatever they push, the drugs they push, I refuse to prescribe. That time, unless it's really needed. Because for me, prevention is better than cure. You know, I was working in a big hospital before. All the rejects of the other hospitals went to that big government hospital. And I did not like what I saw, because they come at the latest stages of disease that you cannot do much. So I left the hospital, went into public health, and decided that with public health, I can help more people, you know, by teaching them to be healthy, okay? So why do we need nutrition? You know, Dr. Wen, you know his story, he also left, you know, he discovered those testing kits for Epstein-Barr virus. And that kit was bought by a German company. And he left, you know, that lucrative thing by selling the lab and went into nutrition. Why? Because he realized the importance of nutrition, okay, in helping more people in the world. To help realize the vision, you know, in 1992, he set the vision about the healthiest family on earth. Why? Because, nowadays, these modern times, we are, what did he say here, Dr. Wentz? We are living too short and dying too long. Now more and more people are living long because of the better standard of living, right? But at the same time, it's parallel. People are living long because of the improved standard of living, about dietary modification and its effect on health. Okay. And here, this is from the Council for Responsible Nutrition. USANA is a member here. We are a voting member. CRN is originally U.S. organization, but it's become international. So a lot of companies are members here, but not all companies are voting members like USANA we are. So here, this was a survey a few years ago. So for example, so this is just an example, okay? Don't say I'm saying that it's a treatment, okay? It's not. This is just an example of the study. For example, with coronary heart disease, event rate is 16%. But when they take supplements, whether taken by themselves or prescribed by a nurse or given by a doctor, you see the reduction, relative risk reduction, will at the bottom is 11.5. So that's a significant reduction when they take supplements. For age-related, let's skip some, age-related eye disease, 33% event rate. It happens without supplements. But when they're given supplements, like those in the advertisements, Visionix we have, okay? You see the decrease in relative risk, 23%. You see how significant that is? Bone health, osteoporosis, from 15%, there's a reduction from 6 to 18.6%. So that just shows that supplementation has a part. Why? Because a lot of this, like osteoporosis, what is the cause? Deficiency, right? Age-related diseases. You might be deficient in lutein, zeaxanthin. So supplementation plays a role in helping nutrient gaps. That's what this is saying here. So we are not claiming any cure here, but the data doesn't lie. Okay? Are the right level of nutrients, what are they? Okay? Let's see. This is very true. What you put in your mouth matters. If you are attending a convention, it's hard probably to find a restaurant that you're familiar with. So you're so hungry walking around Salt Lake and you see a famous hamburger chain, and that's the easiest thing to do, right? But that's once in a while. When you go back, eat healthy again. It's really important because we have seen, I know in my practice before, young people, when they don't eat well, they come down with high cholesterol at 25 years old. I mean, what is that? You should have high cholesterol when you're age 60, unless you're maintaining your diet well. So, and you know that we should be reading labels. Like here, cholesterol is 200 milligrams already. Sodium is 1,520 milligrams. You should be taking only like 2,000 milligrams max, especially the males, right? Imagine that's just one sitting. If you eat, have you seen people that eat 3 times a day? Burgers or worse, donuts 3 times a day. Yes. Because of the fast pace of life, some have no choice. They wake up, it's easier to get a donut or something else, or fast hot dog somewhere. It takes an effort, but it's worth it to prepare your own food the healthy way. So in the U.S., this is U.S., right? Western diet. In spite of the many food around here, it's shocking to see that we have deficiencies. You see, vitamins E, 89%, 97. Calcium, 63% deficiency in women, more, 88%. So we would expect here in US, for example, there's so much food. I was shocked when I first moved here, long time ago. When I went to the grocery store, like 10 kinds of cereals, 15 kinds of meal, all kinds of rice from all over the world, and all kinds of food. So I did not know what to pick in the shelves. And I actually gained weight here because I was drinking milk every day, 3 times. It was tasted so good. So I was twice my size then when I arrived here. Then gradually I said, this is not good anymore, you know. So I started to eat healthy again. And what I'm saying is, even here, I'm sure even in Europe, that's considered a Western society, right? You still have deficiency. It's not like only those in Africa or poor countries in Asia that deficiency is low. This is shocking data. That's when supplementation comes in again to fill in nutrient gaps. Okay, instead of talking about treatments or mitigating disease when you talk about supplements, talk about fixing nutrient gaps. You know, in that way, they're not saying, oh, you're curing disease. Because if you fix nutrient gaps, a lot of things will follow anyway. It will fall into place. You become healthy, and you don't need to talk about diseases to promote usana product. It's true, we get a lot of testimonials, but we avoid those because it's not good for your business, right? The testimonials that I took these cell essentials, and now my colon that I was diagnosed with X was cured. We don't talk about those, but the reason people feel better because the nutrient deficiency is fixed. So RDAs, are they enough? Not really. That's when the supplements come again. Because the RDA is not designed to provide optimal levels. They're like the minimum level that your body needs. So if you eat balanced diet, then you might get the RDA. But what if you don't eat balanced diet because of your lifestyle? Then you won't even get the RDA. That's the problem. Okay? So it says here that RDA is like having a poverty level income, just enough. But if something happens, emergency, you can't respond anymore. So look at this. Why is it important to take sometimes higher level than the RDA? I think in Europe you call it something else. It escaped my mind. But anyway, you know RDA, right? C. Okay. So, for example, vitamin C, if you take the RDA, then you prevent that classic deficiency, scurvy, your gums are healthy, you don't have bleeding gums, and okay? Because it helps in collagen synthesis, RDA. But what if you keep higher than RDA? Then you get additional benefits. That's when the supplements come in. That's when you help with fatigue, lack of energy, you know. You think vitamin C is only for scurvy? No. It helps with fatigue. It helps with energy because vitamin C helps in the, remember your Krebs cycle in high school or college, citric acid cycle? Yeah, you get energy. It helps in the pathways it enters. And then you increase some more. Now it has antioxidant activity and therefore helps with cardiovascular health and so forth and so on. Okay? And of course, you don't just increase vitamin C according to your will, right? It depends on you, your kidney function. You don't want to develop kidney stones if you exceed 2,000 milligrams and so on and so on. So you also have to listen to how your body responds. That's what I always say because sometimes people say, I took this and I got sick. Well, you have to listen to what your body is saying. Our body has a way of telling you to continue or to stop, to increase or to decrease. And vitamin C, for example, okay, we talk about RDA, and the optimal is around 1,000 milligrams per day. That's an example. Sometimes the optimal for some people is 800, depending on their situation, right? So, how do you get 1,000 milligrams per day without taking a pill? Well, you have to drink 10 glasses of oranges. Who among you can drink 10 glasses of oranges a day? Even if you divide it 3, 6, 9, it's hard, right? So, to be able to get the optimal dose, or let's say 500, you want to take 500, so you need to take 5 glasses, right? But in practical terms, you can't, because you cannot be using every day or the whole day. So the only remedy to prevent nutrient gap is to take a supplement, right? That's the convenient one, unless you live in a mansion with 10 maids and somebody's using for you the whole time, which we don't have, we don't do it here. And vitamin D is another example. You have these RDAs here, 400 to 800 IU. The optimal, I'm sure some of you probably went to your doctor, especially the women, and the doctor would say, take 2,000 or 4,000 IU, depending on your laboratory result. How do you get that? Look, 34 glasses of milk. You'll get vitamin D with 34 glasses of milk, but you'll have what? Diarrhea. Then you won't be able to go to work because you have diarrhea. So this is just an example that supplements have a role to get the optimal dose in order to prevent nutrient gap as well as getting the optimal dose. How is usana different? Well, you know the vision. You know the vision of Dr. Metz. He's really a great man. You know, when I first met him, he's the founder, he's up there, how many houses he had all over the world, and own helicopter. But he's very humble. The first time I met him, he just smiling, welcomed me, where are you from? And very humble, you know. Not like some people that they're already on top there, but they won't even budge. Okay, welcome, see you. Just do your job. Okay? But he was not like that. He sat with us, welcomed us. So, as I said, you know, in 92 he started usana, right? But before that he already had vision about cellular nutrition. Nobody was talking then about cellular nutrition. Not too many. Okay? If we have good nutrition, people can lead healthier and more rewarding lives. That's why he left. He sold his company selling these virus testing kits. He probably would have made money doing that, but more money, but he opted to have the healthiest vision on earth, help humanity. And you're all familiar with this, our values. You should take this to heart. You know? Our vision is usana is to provide holistic health, to have the healthiest family on earth. Excellence. Whatever we do in usana, scientists or marketing, manufacturing, it's all towards excellence because we do it for not only for the sake of associates, but your families, the community. Okay? If you do half task or not so good job, it will reflect on us, on what you take, you know. Integrity. Even if you're excellent, if you don't have integrity, everything will disappear fast. Even in your business, you should have to have integrity. Like when you're selling usana products or promoting it, everything has to be factual and honest. You cannot exaggerate because you might have a business that's good in 6 months and 1 year, but people will discover, oh, he had been fooling us, then you collapse the second year. That's why it's good to have integrity. USANA has been here 30 years now. That's why we are celebrating 30 years. We have seen so many companies that started at the same time. Some of them did not even last a year. Some just 5 years. Some are barely surviving now. They're here, but they're in debt. We are not. You know why? Because we follow these values: health, excellence, and integrity. Communities, we try to give back. You went to USANA Foundation, but there are not only USANA Foundation, we do other things too, like helping the environment and many more ways to give to the community. Hopefully you're still awake.
Yes.
It's a good thing
Yeah.
it's morning time.
Yes.
Okay, so what is USANA different? There's a lot, especially the reason it's called USANA Health Sciences too is because we're backed by science. It's not only a run-of-the-mill company, that you buy ingredients, mix it anywhere, in the kitchen, and no. We have the goal to develop the highest quality science-based products. It might be high quality the way you manufacture it, but is it science-based? Okay? What is science-based? It means to say it has been studied very well before we even mix the ingredients, and we test it. The ingredients, when we buy it, we test them. That's done. Okay. So when they are mixed in the manufacturing, a sample, we test them again. Before the final product is made, another testing. When it's done, another testing. So it's science-based. Why are we constantly testing? Well, because we want it to be safe and working at the same time. And these are the scientists. It says here 90, but we recruited more in the past few months, so it's almost 100 plus now.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, in order for you to get the excellent products, we have to have a lot of scientists working on it. Like half of these scientists would be testing it. Microbiological, chemical, contamination, all kinds of testing. Okay? And a single ingredient have several levels of testing, not only one. We have to make sure. Devan was mentioning earlier about the right amount of ingredient. We test it inside, we even test it outside with NSF to make sure that we have the right amounts of ingredient. No more, no less. If it's more, many times we reject it. If it's less, we reject it. If the label says 500 milligram and we only get 480, we cannot sell that because it's against our policy. Then you would be shortchanging the customers, right? Selling under those products. And these are some examples of scientific partnership all over the world. We have more, but these are the more recent ones, like Central Queensland University in Australia, we just finished a study again. The Beijing University, we just finished studies last year. University of Colorado, all this. We have more. We have a complete list of partners all over the world, globally. Okay? Now we're exploring more because we concentrated on, aside from China, we concentrated on Western agencies and Australia, but we have not tried anything like in Mexico or other parts of Asia. So we are exploring that. And you all know that we cannot operate, so We work diligently with all the global agencies, many countries all over the world, for us to be able to operate. And sometimes to bring a product to one country, for example, the process takes forever. Sometimes 2 years, sometimes 5 years, depending on the product. And this is what we do in R&D, because we are very proud of it, because we follow certain steps. Ideation is, ideas come in, it could come from you, it could come from employees, consultants, other agencies. So ideation is, why don't you make this one? It makes you give more energy, okay? Or anything that, but of course we have to prioritize. So don't be disappointed if sometimes you write our chief scientific officer and within a year there's no response, because there's so many ideas that come in. So in the ideation, you have to choose, to prioritize which is feasible, okay? You might send something like, I want something to grow hair. Well, that's not our priority, because there are other priorities on top of it. Although I would like to have that. And after ideation, officer's gate. That's when we decide it's to prioritize, and it goes to R&D design space. If we don't like it yet, it goes to pantry, R&D pantry. We store it, the idea, until the right time comes. So it's designed, sometimes, one product may take 3 to 5 years. So you see how long to develop a product? Because by the time you put it together, you have to make sure the ingredients are working together. They're not fighting. They are, you see, even if the scientific papers say ingredient A is good for the body, ingredient B is good for the same thing. But sometimes when you mix them together, instead of being synergistic, they might be antagonistic. Okay? That's why we have to change. It takes a long time to develop a product. And then scoping is, this really works very well. And then some more testing. And then, hi, David.
Morning.
How are you?
Hold on, let's give a
Nice to see you.
Excuse
me, sir. I'm sorry to interrupt you. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Dr. Miguel, can I take just a couple of minutes? Is that all right?
Yes, please. Yeah, come.
We're actually really fortunate today. Pete's here too. Look at that, Pete.
Say something.
Yeah, I apologize, Dr. Medella. Dr. Medella gave me a fantastic
motivate
presentation
them.
here.
I'm so sorry.
No. We
No,
were
we
actually
have a lot
expecting
of
you
time.
Right.
with our fingers crossed, because we know that this is an incredibly busy time with USANA, and David and Pete were really generous to take some of their time out of their schedule.
Oh my goodness.
They're having to
No,
put
no,
other things aside. No. Hold on.
You guys
I know,
have
they
come
wanna
all
be
the
here.
way. Serious, for us this is nothing. For you guys to be here is so wonderful. And we just so appreciate you traveling all of this way to be here. This is going to be an amazing few days. I mean, it feels kind of strange to, I keep going like that, touching people. Make sure you're all real. No, it's not virtual, right, anymore. So Pete Benedict, if you don't know, Pete runs all of our solutions for IT around the world. He works with Walter Note, and I think many of you have met Walter. Walter's kind of the chief officer. Pete delivers with all of the solutions. You've got a team of about 230 around the world. Anything from the shopping cart to, he's building some pretty cool stuff on this. Can I tell him?
You can tell them anything you want.
We're building a USANA app, which is going to be the coolest thing, so that anything from daily reminders about taking tablets to don't record this, tell me secrets. Anyway, Pete is amazing. I'm going to let him say something in a minute, but I want to thank you for being here. you know, making the effort. Who's here for the very first time? Oh my goodness. This is my 14th convention. How many for you?
14.
I don't know. It's like, I've been here for 6 years now, but I was here for 20 years ago. I was here for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
So I don't.
How many for you? How many conventions? Four. Erwin?
I think 8 or 9.
Wow. It's a lot. It just gets better every time, and it feels like it's the first time every time we do it. So, yeah, really absorb it, you know, and take your time. I remember the first time I got married. The first time I got married. It was all really quick, and I was really flustered, and I was so young, and God only knows. Anyway, the second time I got married, I took my time, and it was a much better wedding. The marriage was not so good. The wedding was phenomenal because I sort of experienced, that's a dumb example, for my 60th birthday. Just absorb everything. Make sure you meet, take the time to meet people and stop and talk and just look into their eyes. Just look into their eyes and speak to them with your eyes and with your heart. You're just going to have the most wonderful experience here. We've got some pretty incredible things planned for you. We're not giving away any iPads or phones or anything like that. We're not launching any new products. We don't have any new apps or anything. But what we do have is a lot of love to give, and that's really the idea of this convention: is bringing everyone back together. Do you want to say something?
Ditto. So really, really grateful for all of you for making this trip. Really appreciate it. And we just want you to have a great experience. In IT, we're very committed to helping you all grow your business. We're all about that. So, thank you.
Thanks very much. We'll see you later this evening for yeah, we'll do like a. I'm gonna go down like this. Stay there. Stay there. Stay there.
Yeah, it's gonna be a crazy selfie.
See.
Come on, Pete. We get people on the side.
I'll join.
Okay.
Yeah, we're, hurry up this
Yeah, we're gonna hold on. Hold on.
Un petit peu peur de voir toi.
1, 2, 3.
This is Dana. She's my assistant. She's amazing.
Okay, done.
Great to see you all.
Thank you.
Thank you for dropping by.
Thank you.
Maybe this year, you know, get approved and disapproved.
See you guys. See you.
Yeah, they're part of the process. When we do scoping, they say yay or nay. Because he's the chief marketing officer, he has to say if this product will sell or not before we even create it. So all these spaces, you were talking about testing, right? All are here. And then finally commercialization, when we're satisfied this is safe and it works according to the claim. Okay? So after commercialization, we even monitor it. We have the safety monitoring here that I'm also heading, and there's a pharmacist under me, and we monitor the products all over, globally. Make sure if there's a complaint, this gave me a rash, or I took these tablets and I had a stomach ache, and you investigate, and they took 20 tablets all at the same time. So we have to explain. Sometimes the complaints are so simple, but sometimes if they're really allergic to something, then they will react, right? But that's very rare, very rare. And globally we have that. So even you can write us if you have a complaint, or you go through your main office and they forward it to us. And you had a tour. All these materials, formulas, manufacturing improvement, and monitoring equals high quality. And we don't stop. Once we sell it, it doesn't mean to say it stops there. We have to monitor. If there's room for improvement, then we improve. We change the ingredient, adjust the ingredient, you know. So it's a lot of work just to produce one product. And this is where the action is. You've been around, you've been to the lab, and you've seen the people. We are so careful with the lab. You see how, did you go to the main lab where they mix the products?
Yeah.
You went inside, it's so clean, right?
Yes.
All over the building we have traps for rats and all kinds of animals. Oh, not the endangered species. The rats. Right inside, you know, we try make sure there are no cockroaches, even an ant. You know, you think the ant, the small ant is harmless, you know. If they see that in the manufacturing, then it's a panic. You know, you have to see the source. Some stuff might have dropped some donut there, you know. We don't like ants to be appearing in your products, for example. Okay? Although I tasted ant way back in Asia. Tastes good. You see how clean the floor is? And even the way we store the product is so organized. So transportation, very careful. We don't know when it reaches your post office, how they treat it. But as far as our part, we are very careful with it. So we adhere to good manufacturing practices, but we even go beyond. You know, the government has certain regulations to follow. USANA goes beyond that. So last June, FDA came for an audit, and they were so satisfied. You know, sometimes they audit companies, it lasts weeks. They stayed here only for 5 days. They were so satisfied with all our procedures and the way we follow, the way we produce the products, that it took them only a few days. So that's why we're proud. That's the USANA difference. If you follow the practices, then the government agencies will be happy with you. We are also USP certified. So every year we get this certification, meaning to say we follow very strict. The way you think only the pharmaceutical industry have USP, we follow USP too. Procedures. So there are many more, depending on the country. Halal in Malaysia, NSF all over the world. You know, NSF that's what Devan was saying earlier. Whatever is on the label should comply, you know. Otherwise, we throw 1,000 bottles if the lot it doesn't pass NSF. And we say consumer lab. This is 2019, but we got it again a few years back. Every year we have our awards, you know. Sometimes I would say we won again. We got an award again. So actually the first half of the year, this 2022, we got already 37 awards. Wow. Half of the year. That's June. So imagine we get more. So not too many companies get this recognition. You know, whether it's the products, it's the manufacturing, it's the administration, it's our newsletter. That just shows the high quality of what we do here, okay? And that is why a lot of athletic companies, even China, I just got a letter the other day, the National Sports Training Bureau of China. They're very strict there. They also approve our products for their athletes. So we will make a video. Dr. Sinot will make a video next week to greet them. You know, we have they have another accreditation in China by the National Sports training viewer. And these are all other agencies. You know, we have been working with the U.S. Ski Association. You know, a lot of the last Winter Olympics, a lot of our athletes won, you know, silver, bronze. I think previous years there was gold. So that's how a lot of athletes trust us, because we're very serious. You know, athletes are particular with the anti-doping. You know, they will be testing with prohibited drugs, right? So the World Anti-Doping Association, we have to audit our ingredients to make sure none of our ingredients fall within those prohibited substances. So that's one thing we are proud about. We passed the anti-doping. Usana research is, we also do clinical research because, you know, a lot of critics, especially the doctors before, now more and more doctors are educated about supplements, right? They even take it. But the reason we do clinical research, which we are not obligated, did you know that as supplement companies, we are not really required to do clinical research, not like pharmaceuticals. But USANA has opted to do it because we want to make sure, we ourselves want to see too, that it works and is safe. So safety and efficacy we want to prove. We want to prove the purity of the ingredients, mechanism of action, and we also do product testing. Mechanism of action, because you know, in Europe or globally, you probably see these competitors, right? They claim this, we do NRF2, we activate ourselves, and USANA doesn't. That's not true. We have been talking about NRF2 since the beginning. Have you heard NRF2? A lot of your competition are banking on that. You know, they say they have NRF2, which is a cell signaling thing. But we have it, I'll discuss it later. We have it in USANA way back, and they're only talking about it now. And we have publications in many scientific journals, you know. You even find it in Ask the Scientist. So these are all peer-reviewed journals, very strict reviews. So we submit them for publications. Again, we have, you know, in clinical research, a lot of these stages, R&D design, scoping, creation, commercialization. In any of those, we do clinical trials. We choose where to do. So this is an example of Cell Essentials study. Okay, healthier pattern in cardiometabolic biomarker compared to non-users. That's one study. Cell Essential. This one is it says that vitamin levels are elevated, you know, and nutrients. Because people say, oh, you take the vitamin, they're not absorbed. But we did a study, and it says that they are absorbed. You can find this in Ask the Scientist. And then we did, you know, for Nutrimil, we did a study with Beijing University. Again, significant improvement in anthropometric measurements, as well as other metabolic parameters. So we have more. This is the Cocoprime about affecting cognitive function. So we have more. These are just examples. This is just to show you that we are serious with our research in USANA. And now we go here. You see, this is Europe. A while ago, we talked about US deficiencies, right? So you see in Europe, all this, when it's blank, either they did not measure it or it doesn't exist. So Denmark, children, adult, and seniors, even Germany, France, UK. Look at all the deficiencies, right? Isn't it surprising to be in a developed country and have deficiencies? So this is just an example that is why supplementation is needed to answer nutrient gaps. Okay? But if you're deficient with vitamin D, for example, right? Look, all the countries are deficient with vitamin D. But you cannot drink, 14 glasses of milk. That's when supplementation comes in. And Cell Essentials is our core product. We know we have a lot of products, but the reason we have Cell Essentials because it has a lot of vitamins and minerals that are needed by our body to correct nutrient gaps. So these are the major ones. You're all familiar with this. There are more, but these are the major vitamins that we have in there and my major minerals. Okay, the vitamin antioxidant, you all know that. Okay. Let's go to the more important, the minerals. And the part of it that is intelligence technology is alpha-lipoic acid, riba, curcumin, green tea, quercetin, lutein, and all this, asparagine, resveratrol, olive oil extract. So this is the one that's patented in US. So this is the patent in US. We always say in US because each country should apply for a patent, right? But this is patented in US about endogenous antioxidants and mitophagy. That's the approved patent for Cell Essentials. And the reason I'm talking about intelligence complex, which is cell signaling, right? A lot of your competition, probably not in Europe, but in Asia and South America, a lot of the competition are attacking usana without any proof of their attack. Their attacks is just to say something, so as to steal associates, right? But the way they explain they say in Philippines, for example, there was one competition. They're saying that our product, meaning to say their product, activates the cells, and usana doesn't. Where did they even get that? We have been talking about this in '92, these antioxidants and cell signaling pathway. And these companies that are talking were just established 5 years ago. So what they are telling, we have been talking about since Dr. Wentz established it. So this one, I don't take a photo and distribute it because we want to finalize it, and we don't want this to go to the competition, okay? Because I just want to explain to you now. Cell signaling, that is intelligence, right? When you take the nutrients and the patented technology, they all work together to activate the cells. The target cells are activated in the cell, okay? They're activated in the cell here, NRF2 signaling pathway, and releases a lot of many other things, antioxidants, So like in Cell Essentials, we have the NRF2 target part of the signaling pathway, okay? While our competitors are just talking about NRF2, and they're making such a big deal out of it. But we are studying mTOR, another cell signal. We are studying C3R, and many more. They probably don't even know about these things. Okay? So I'm just telling you that when you hear these things, don't panic because we have them too, and we knew them for many years. Okay? But this will be published, so don't get it yet. Once it's published, then you all get it. Okay? So you all know what are the target part of the intelligence technology that we have. Because in Philippines and Colombia. They were all panicking, the associates. What is this? They're saying they have NRF2 and we don't have. Well, we had NRF2 for a long, long time. And we have even more. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, name it. It's not only NRF2, okay? There's M2, C3R, and many more. So, because many of our, well, this is, you know this already, you know these changes in all the market. It doesn't affect the effectivity of sales sanctions. Because at some point, a lot of you were in panic too. Why is it that the formula in UK is different from Spain? It's just because of regulations. Otherwise, the effect is the same. Okay? The effect is the same. It's just because of the regulations that vitamin C is 620 milligram in UK and 600 in Belgium. What is 21 milligrams?
Exactly.
It's the same. It's just that the regulation in Spain wants us to be 600 and UK wants us to be 621. So it's just regulation, but they're all the same. So I just want to assure you, when you go back, tell your co-associates and prospects that we have studied it. The effects are the same. Okay? It's because of these laws, these regulations that laws are good, but sometimes they make things complicated. Okay? Well, that's our promise, you know, the sales signaling to make highest quality products. Thank you. And do you have any questions?